most of us have periods of time when we're not dancing for a few weeks to let them recover. And there's a fair few wearing various bits of strap. It's not an activity for wimps.
These traditions, love, are very important. The English are good at tradition. They're very important in all the communities, like the Sadworth Morris men. They're very important in their community. They hold their community together and they have a purpose and a being. And the longer they can keep it together, the better it is. It's something that the community latches onto, and it's really nice to have a tradition like that. All the villages and all the Morris men should look after each other and look after each other's tradition. It's very important for being English. This is what we do and what we're good at. It's street theatre at its best, and it's alive today as it was hundreds of years ago.
One of the earliest written records of anything is of a payment to a team of Morris dancers for dancing outside a church in 1433 or something, so it's that old.
Our town has no canals, it's got no steam engines, but it's got the Britannia coconut dancers. And we're a sort of something for the community. We are owned by our community. They're very proud of us, they're very protective of us. We're very protective of the tradition, and at the end of the day, although we dance this in our time and at no cost to ourselves, we are the custodians or caretakers of a tradition that goes back into the middle of the last century.
All credit to our leader. The only man who wears a red feather is our leader, Richard Shufflebottom, who's been in since he was 22-year-old and has done over 50 years. All credit to this man here. Nobody will ever catch him because we'll not put the years in this man has.
Dick is a living icon.
He's over 70 years old, probably near a 75-year-old, and it's keeping him fit and well, and he's still having a good time.
We're dwindling because we can't get anybody sort of under 50 to actually be interested in it. There are so many things for youngsters to do nowadays that, and there seems to be a reluctance on lots of youngsters' part to actually put any physical effort into anything. Because we're an older side, it's very difficult to get youngsters to come and dance.
And the single step is literally just kind of what you might think of as skipping or kind of step hop.
We had at one time 16 boys, ranging from 7 up to 9, and they stuck with us for about 4 years until they get to the high school, and then unfortunately peer pressure takes over, and girls, they start getting interested in girls.
I don't know.
Well, let's face it, the image of a Morris dance is not great, is it?
Bells on his toes and ribbons in his hair or whatever.
He was speaking to people earlier who were saying that they think that Morris is going to die out because the new generation aren't interested. What would you say to that? What's good about it?
Oh, everything's good about it. I mean, we're here, aren't we? We're 3 hours away from home. We've been here for a weekend. We're camping. We're in the pub. The lads love it. They're always in the pub when they get the Mick taken out of school. They say, "Well, what do you do on a Saturday?" They go. All their mates go to shopping with their mum or whatever. We're in the pub with the Morris team, so they love it really. I mean, you know.
I certainly discovered when I got to about 16 that my mates would walk into the pub and do the first time ever in the pub, you know, a pint of your best bit of beer, Mr. Landlord, sir, and get thrown out. And I'd just walk in, know what I was doing, and hold on, isn't that an admission to criminality on tape? Oops. Yeah.
We practice in the church hall behind the United Reformed Church in Water Street, which is where we started actually. Probably finish off there or at some point when we haven't got enough members to dance.
something that's in us. At the end of the day, all these dancers, they might not admit to it, but they have a little bit of eccentricity in them, and they have a little bit of proudness in them about where they come from and where the roots are, and this is what keeps them together. It's a community thing, and no matter what anybody says, some of the dancers might not admit to being eccentric, but they all have a little bit of eccentricity in them. It's an English thing. It's what we do and it's what we're good at. And we might get knocked and all the rest of it, but at the end of the day, we'll be here for as long as time is eternal, I do hope.
75 decided to revive the rush cart tradition, which had been a local Saddleworth tradition, if you like. We started out just after the First World War. They built the first rush cart in 75 and we've held it every year since then. Traditionally it would have been the villagers from each village in Saddleworth who would have built a rush cart to take the rushes up to the church in Saddleworth, in Uppermill.
Don't like to make an issue of it, but political correctness arose when people started saying, what about the blacking, you know, is it an insult? We said, no, it never has been.
It's a disguise.
And people said, well, if you're doing it, why are you doing it? And it's probably the first question that strangers who've never seen us before do ask. And at the end of the day, it's something that we can see that we've been doing since 1857. And people say, well, that's when vaudeville came into town and started doing it through the music halls. I said, no, that's 40 years before that happened. The turn of the century was when vaudeville came in from America, and everybody used to start blacking up and doing what was called, dare I say it, niggering. But that is not us. We were doing it 40 years before that happened. And so we have records to prove it. And we're taking off the Moorish pirate. Probably the darking and blacking was done to imitate a Moor in full.
Well, the pagan idea.
But then we have the pagan side as well.
It's a disguise. Because when we're dancing, we're chasing away the evil spirits. And when you wash it off, they say the evil spirits won't recognise you afterwards. Yeah.
So we stick together, we persevere, and whatever comments people make or political correct people make, we won't allow our tradition to be sullied. And believe me, if ever that was to happen, there would be an uproar in our village, because it's the villagers and the town we come from that are so protective of us. It's untrue. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cheers. And Dick never got a word in.